Welcome, everybody. Welcome back, daters. We are so glad to have you. This episode is going to be so transformational, so
Very
amazing.
Juicy.
I am delighted to have two beautiful women who I adore, I respect, that I cheer on.
Come on, flowers.
So, Shar, if you could start us off by introducing yourself and telling people who you are.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Shar Jossell. I am, a multi-award winning journalist.
Run the resume.
Yes.
I'm floating around. You might have seen or heard me in Essence and Variety. I'm all over the place. I'm currently the president of the National Association of Black Journalists of Los Angeles.
Big time.
Yes.
Of Los Angeles.
Hello, Madam President.
And-
I voted for you.
Thank you. So you're part of the 67%.
Yeah.
The overwhelming majority. And so, that's just, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, I'm a lover.
A lover. Okay.
And a cousin, because y'all cousin trips.
Yeah.
That y'all take.
Yeah, my cousins, it's a lot of us. Well, my mom's the youngest of 10.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about that later. Yeah, and everyone has kids who has kids who has kids.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's a big family.
That's a little bit about me. That's just a little snapshot.
Nina.
Welcome, Shar.
Run it down, boo.
Run
it down, boo.
Well, if you don't know.
Hey, everybody. I am the doll, NeverEndingNina, singer-songwriter, community cultivator. I have been around a lot of things, and I use my voice to just speak my mind. And sometimes it's in melody, but for the most part, I use my voice to speak my mind and create change. And so, I'm glad to be here.
I love this.
Yes.
I love a good intro.
Yeah.
When you ask the people to come up here and give an intro, I don't know what to say.
I love it.
Run y'all resumes.
You better say something.
I don't be knowing what to say.
Run y'all
Oh,
resumes.
put a mic in front of Shar.
It depends. It depends.
Shar's
It
a
depends.
Capricorn. Nina, what are you?
Virgo.
Oh, we all sides.
Yes.
Very grounded women.
Correct. Sometimes.
So we're going to jump right into
Come on and jump.
So, what is your 2025 dating affirmation for yourself?
Mm.
Make it juicy. Something that you want for yourself.
You got one, Nina?
I mean, I haven't thought about it in pertaining to that, but I know for sure what I've always led, even in 2024, and I'm bringing into 2025, is that I'm always open for the experience of a lover. And so that means I have to continually check in with myself to make sure that if it comes to me and my spidey senses start to tingle,
How they tingle?
like that. If it starts to tingle, then I'm like, no, give it an opportunity, give it an experience, be one with the experience so that, because my issue, all right, we about to wake it up now. I am a career woman and all my life I've put my career in front of everything because I knew that wouldn't fail me.
Yeah.
Even if it is hardships and obstacles and all that, my trajectory is always going up. With relationship, particularly because I'm a particular type of woman, it's not many opportunities to have those experiences. So I didn't put a lot of energy into that.
Yeah.
What I did put energy into was that, okay, if it comes, are you present with yourself to take on that man that's attracted to you or want to get to know you?
That's good.
So that's what I always lead into each year, that I'm present with myself to know that if this fine man, attractive man, strong man, confident man, self-determined man, black man,
I'm receiving it for me.
athletic build man,
I'm receiving it for me.
come to me.
I'm receiving it for me, okay?
If he comes to me, I can be aware of, Nina, do you have bags? Is he triggering something that you need to let him know? Is he comfortable with his masculinity to where he don't have to tell you to walk up or all that kind of stuff that I
We don't
don't
get into
deal
that.
with. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, that's what I'm constantly checking in with myself to be like, are you open and are you present for the experience?
That's really good.
Optimism.
Yeah. What about you, Shar?
Much like Nina, I've been a career girl too. Careers at the forefront because a lot of the same reasons. I know it will not fail me. in a lot of the same ways that a person can.
Mhm.
It won't hurt me in a lot of the same ways a person can. And so for me, when I look at this year and what I guess desire for this year, dating was really not on the table for me.
Mhm.
Okay.
I kind of took a step back last year with dating, and just luckily I don't have any like crushes right now. Like I'm not crushing on anyone right now. You know, I can acknowledge like, oh, he's cute, but I'm not like
invested.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not. And I don't want to seem jilted or jaded or wounded, because I am not. I just think that I can recognize that there are some things within myself that I'm still working through.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean that I have to cut myself off to the idea of having a partner, because we're all constantly working on things within ourselves.
Yeah.
But I guess I would want this year, if a man came into my life, stability. And I would want loving actions, because I've had my fair share of loving words. There's a difference there.
Big difference.
And peace.
Yeah.
You know, just really paying attention. When men come into my life, I need to pay attention to the ways in which I'm reacting. Like it's crazy that I've had addictions to men who have deep fried my nervous system and you know, seasoned it with lemon pepper.
Wow.
And so it
Deep fried my
nervous system.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, really.
But it's
like,
weird because it's appetizing, because then you go back.
yeah.
And then you go back.
The cortisol is addictive.
Yeah.
The stress can be addictive.
Mhm.
And so I want someone that brings me peace.
Mm.
And so I guess that's what, if it happens this year, that's what I want: stability, peace, and God, please be smart.
Yeah. I pray that
You got to be smart.
I manifest and I pray that at the end of 2025, when we look back at this episode, that both of you get exactly what you want.
I received that.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Amen.
I think it's okay
It's been a journey.
this is for everybody too. If no one is exciting you right now, that's okay too. That doesn't mean anything is wrong with
I'm
you.
embracing it.
Yes.
I'm embracing it. I don't look at it as anything's wrong with me.
Mhm.
I'm actually relieved.
Mhm.
Honestly, I am. I'm relieved.
that.
I feel like my focus is in different areas, and I feel like that would make the attraction all the more authentic, because
Yeah.
I'm not. No one, like, I can acknowledge that men are cute. I can acknowledge that they're accomplished or smart, but no one has my nose wide open right now, and I'm grateful for that.
So if you were to fill out a dating profile, what would be like 3 things that you would name on that dating profile?
Like 3 of my wants.
Yeah.
Mhm. Or anything about you as a person. What are 3 things that
Oh.
you would name on
That's
that
a
dating
good
profile?
I would put, I guess, that I'm a conversationalist.
Mhm.
It is incredibly challenging to come across a man who is capable, willing, and or able to maintain any form of conversation that gets under my skin. Like, what's the point of this date if we're not conversing, if we can't talk?
Yeah.
So I would put that. I would also put,
Okay.
I mean, I guess any man that's looking at Shar would have to require a degree of patience.
Yeah.
And not patience in the way that people might think, as far as like trashy behavior, but I have some walls built up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Capricorn
going,
woman.
Very much so Capricorn woman.
Capricorn woman.
Very much so.
Not my fault. Not my fault. Not my fault. I can admit that I have some walls built up, and it's very challenging for me to take men seriously. I hate to say that, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
Especially given my very particular dating history. Like, it's very, like, I'm like, please. And gosh, what would be the third thing? I guess I have a job, so I hope that you have one as well.
Hello? Hello?
It's so funny because that's literally something you have to list nowadays.
Yeah, I hope that you
It's
have
crazy.
one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Employment.
And it's I hope that's not too vague or fickle, but yeah,
Oh,
I
it's what you
guess
want.
that would be on
No.
my dating profile. I haven't had dating apps in about a year now. I deleted them all last year.
What
Oh,
was
I
your-
have them.
What was your favorite dating app?
My favorite one was Hinge. I really enjoyed Hinge.
Yeah.
We should get some promo from Hinge as much as
At
we
this
mentioned.
I really
Hinge help me meet my partners.
I was on Raya. I didn't. It was okay.
Oh, you were on Raya.
Yeah.
Big time, girl.
Raya is
I was on the Raya talking and
chit-chatting.
Chit, very much that. Chit and chatting. And I back in the day I had done Tinder. I remember I was on Bumble.
Okay.
But last year when I deleted the dating apps, like I deleted my entire Hinge profile and the app.
Wow.
Raya, I uninstalled the app, but I did not delete my profile.
Okay.
Because my Instagram is there.
Oh, yeah.
You can tap it and you could find me there.
Well, I feel like Raya 2 is also great for networking.
Yeah.
Because they've been.
But I'm not there to network.
Yeah.
But it still happens, though.
Then why is your Instagram handle on your Raya?
Well, I think it's a requirement on that app, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it's a requirement to have that there, I guess, to add to the validity of who you are.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, you have to have intelligence.
Okay.
You have to be self-assured.
My God.
Yeah.
You have to be self-assured. Because I tell everybody, I got book sense, common sense, and I got street sense. There's not much of nothing you're going to get past me. So you have to, like my sister said, I'm an intellectual being. I'm already taking you in to see if I drop this question on him, will he run away? Because I go deep. But I also can be present I can assess where you are with your whatever you bring to me. And then I can also give you space respectfully to see, can I be compatible?
What's one of your deep questions that you ask?
Well, particularly for those that don't know, I'm a powerful Black trans woman. And I always ask, how do you view women that you're not attracted to?
That's a good question.
What's funny is that I ask a version of that as well, except mine is, who do you look up to? Who do you admire? Let's say in said field. And I always take note because I forgot who introduced this experiment to me. Typically, if you ask women, they will tell you, if they're an actress, they'll say, oh, I love Denzel Washington. I love Kerry Washington.
Yes.
But when you ask men a lot of the time,
wake it up.
all of their answers are always all men.
Yeah.
And so I want to know who you look up to. What women do you look up to? And don't list Big Mama or, Miss Johnson from the second grade.
Yeah.
What women that are not in direct proximity to you do you admire and why?
What does that tell you about the man?
Well, it gives me a gauge of if they have intentionally sat with how women have been leaders in their life. So, bookmark that part, but that's what I had a brief conversation with this dude that was attracted to me.
I like what you just said right
there.
I love that.
During this time of when we found out these results,
you're talking about the November 5th
yes.
results. Okay.
Still fresh on my body. And
I'm here.
How can it not?
Your gown now.
Listen. But what I told my sister, this is the men that are attracted to me are usually cis heterosexual men, identifying men. And I had to ask them questions. Who did you vote for? Because you can't have access to me. And then don't think about me when you at that ballot.
Yes.
Or in the streets. Now, you might not have to do that publicly, but if your intention within yourself is to know me and see me, because when I invite you into my intimate space, it's just a space, not intimate.
Okay.
Just my intimacy. I need to know that I'm secure with you.
Yeah, you're safe.
Yes. And that's for a lot of us, particularly for me, I make statements that's my main concern is that if I lay down my guard and I give this man who I deem has everything that I'm attracted to, and then right after that, you take me away from this earth, or you do something disrespectful to me and my identity, that is such a gut punch and a slap in the face to who I am and the very thing that you're attracted to. So when I ask that question, that lets me know they have thought about certain ways women have shown up to them. And it also, it gives me an idea that they can push back against maybe their other men who they are around. To be like, no, I can look at this woman and know that she is a leader. She is someone who I can respect, and you don't have to give me her body. You know, because most of it always is a transactional thing.
Oh, yeah. And I'd even venture to say, past leadership, do you just view women as human beings?
Right.
Do you view women as, you know, deemed these people that you can respect and fully formed, fully autonomous individual people? Because a lot of the socialization that takes place, that can be up in the air depending on who you talk to. And I'm glad that you brought up the point around some of the, I don't want to say fear, but some of the hesitation, I guess, with moving forward with certain things because you don't know. And, you know, I've reported on stories over the past few years with Black trans women who are taken away from Earth, who are murdered. I'll just put it that way. I'm trying to speak TikTok language, but who are murdered. And that is the reoccurring theme is these are statistically, these are not Tinder dates gone wrong. These are not one-time hookups gone wrong. But the general public finds safety in narratives of she should have told and da-da-da. He knew because this isn't their first interaction, but no one wants to look at like, oh, they've been, you know, kicking it for 6 years and this happens and things like that. And so it's very dicey, and it can feel that it also speaks to the importance of community because it can feel so individualistic. I know there's plenty of times I felt like I've been on an island in my experiences in proximity to like my friends and stuff because most of my friends are gay Black men.
Shout out to your crew. I know your crew.
Yeah, we got different.
I want to know with you guys being here in LA, you've been here 11 years, like you just mentioned. And Nina, how long have you been
10.
here? 10. How has your dating experience been within that time?
So you know what? I knew. So I'm originally from Port Arthur, Texas, by way of New Orleans, Louisiana. And I knew that my chances of having the experiences of dates and, you know, men and all those type of things would be greater either on the West Coast or the East Coast. And because I'm a summer girl, I like, you know, I like to
heat.
That'd be a hoochie.
You know? So the West Coast was my possibility model, like my icon Laverne said. And it's just like I've had great experiences with the men who decide to show up and want to try to experience me. Now, have they lasted? No, because I don't think they got to the acknowledgement of like, oh, she is a real person. It's not just a fantasy. It's not just, oh, you know, just this sex doll or anything that they sometimes try to project onto trans women. And so my experiences over here have been great. Not many, but every time, like I said at the beginning of the show, is that I'm always open to that of like, they know by my energy of like, you want to get to know me? Okay. I like lunch, brunch, dinners, dates, museum dates.
Yeah.
You know, I need to talk to you.
Just to clarify, so you want a monogamous partnership, correct?
Well, you know what? In these recent years, if it is presented to me in a respectful way, because see, here's the thing. So y'all trying to get it. My background is in HIV prevention and STI prevention, and so you know, keeping it cute. Many people thought they were in monogamous relationships and they weren't.
Yeah,
very true.
And so that taught me of like, Nina, you need to be authentic. You need to be truthful. You need to always make sure you state what you want. You need to make sure that person states what they want, particularly these men, because they might tell you one thing and do the other. And so, of course, I've never been in a committed monogamous relationship. I want that. But I know that in this day and time, I have to then start continually opening my mind to the possibility of, hey, well, what does that look like if they bring it to you respectfully that they're not monogamous, but they can love you? So I say that to say that at one point I was strictly, I want a monogamous relationship, but I'm like, if they present it to me in a respectful way and it fits my fancy.
It's a conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, you got into it.
How
Cool.
about you?
Uh-oh.
I feel that he coming from
Here she goes.
How has your dating experience been in LA? And contest what
Thank you. Thank you for reminding me of the original prompt. The original question.
Okay.
So my dating experience in LA, when I first moved here, oh my God, it was booming. Like I was a busy girl.
Period.
And as I've gotten older, it's slowed down, but that's because my wants and my needs have changed.
Mm-hmm.
My wants and my needs are not the same as they were when I was in my late 20s versus now being in my late 30s.
Mm-hmm.
I also experienced my first heartbreak in LA. Like I'd never had my heart broken before. And I went through something really, really bad. Kind of twice now that I think about it. But one was more severe than the other. And so yeah, when I was younger, it was bustling. But like I said, my wants and my needs were different. The conversation was different.
Yeah.
I was more open. You know, sometimes with youth, how we can subconsciously feel, I guess, inherently like, oh, that won't happen to me.
Yeah.
I took a lot of risks, okay? I did. Like, I can think of dates that I would have. I would never have a man pick me up at my apartment now.
Yeah.
But I would go on dates and give men my address all willy-nilly, come scoop me up, and I'd get in the passenger side and go on that date, you know?
But that age, though, I feel like we weren't aware. Social media.
No, I was aware.
Really?
I was aware.
I wasn't at that
but
age.
I was the exception.
Yeah.
I was the exception.
Because
Waking
your
up.
experience being different.
Yeah, that was in my mind. I was like, girl, I don't. There's certain things, and then I typically only have dealt with men who have something to lose because I too have something. But that's also
At that age too.
Yes, at that age. But that's also bit me in my butt because
You can cuss.
Okay, well, bit me in my ass.
Mhm.
I should have asked before we started recording. Bit me in my ass because there's been abuse on the other side of that.
Yeah.
Because men know that I too have something to lose.
Yeah.
So Shar's never gonna run to Instagram and be like, this happened.
crazy.
Da-da-da. No. Oh no, she can't.
Yeah.
So it's been a double-edged sword. But like I said, the older I get, my wants and needs have changed as life has changed for me. I'm not the same person I was, and I'm not. So yeah, when I first moved here, I was a busy girl. I was out every weekend and doing all types of stuff, you know, running around and nice dates, you know, nice dates, but just doing things that I would never do today.
Yeah.
Like never. You know, so yeah.
I'm happy that.
Wait. Because she didn't answer the
the
second
monogamous
part to
question.
the
Go ahead.
Oh, see, yeah. Nina and I get into spirited. It's so funny that we're both on this show because Nina and I have gotten into spirited conversations.
Spirited.
This is my sister. Because I have been trolled for years, not from Nina, but from other community, because I have been known to be a bit conservative when it comes to my relationships.
Capricorn woman.
I am not.
white picket fence.
Monogamy is something that I not only desire but I require. And I can openly admit, as someone who's gone through years of intensive therapy, part of that is ego-driven. I can admit that. I feel like part of me needs in this lifetime to prove to myself that I am worthy of that one-on-one relationship. I am worthy of a man only having eyes for me, only having desire for me, even if just brief, even if it's just a little 2-year relationship. I need to prove, my ego needs to prove that to myself.
So even after that happens, let's say you meet a man, y'all are in a committed monogamous relationship for a year. Then would you be open if you?
No.
Okay. Never.
I don't see myself, present day Shar, I do not see myself in an open relationship. And I could only hope and pray and trust that if that is something that my partner would desire, that he would express that to me, because it's going to be 10 times worse if he goes and does it behind my back and I find out about it.
Well, that's not an open relationship. That's cheating.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But you know, there's a lot of word salad in today's climate. There's a lot of mumbo jumbo.
So let's jump into today's topic.
Okay.
Because it's
oh, we haven't even reached today's topic.
No!
Oh! I'm like, you know I'm a mouthy girl. I feel like I'm
That was just preliminaries.
That was your intro.
Okay.
Is this supposed to be a 3-hour episode? I'm so sorry.
So today's topic, we're going to talk about dating from the trans experience. So you guys briefly already touched on like what your experiences are as dating as trans women. If you can, we can kind of combine two questions together. Number one, what has been your experience? And then number two, how are you meeting people that you are dating? And are you like, is it dating apps? Is it in person? Kind of break that down for us.
So always it's dating apps, it's social media, it's in person. I'm a walking billboard with the openness of people trying to experience me. Like I said before, I recently, it was last month. I went on a date with this man, and we met up. It was spontaneous. I don't mind being spontaneous because that let me know it's action. You have action.
Yeah.
So if he hit you up at 12 and say, be ready at 5, you're open to
No,
that?
if he hit me up at 12 and say I got an appointment for 3 or 2:30.
You go.
And my schedule is clear.
Okay.
To show him, because I'm an assertive, assured woman.
Yes.
I'm a Virgo, so I'm very independent and I know what I need to do on a daily basis.
Okay.
But if I can put that down and a man come tell me, never ending, I need you at for 2:30.
The doll is there.
It's giving Jill Scott. If you can tell me what to do,
then you can tell me what to do. But if you can't tell me what to do, then you can't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
So he literally was like, I know it's spontaneous, but I got a few hours for my break and we go get some lunch and I get to know you more. I said, sure. I was like, what area are you in? He was like, oh, I'm in Culver City. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm out.
I love this. Go ahead.
Told me to meet up right there. We went there, had the lunch turned into dinner.
Oh, my favorite. I love a long date.
Because that means he wasn't scared of like the communication. And I know one thing about me is that, of course, thankful to my mother and father, the mug and the things are there. So you have to, I know when they take me in, they be like, oh my God, I know that from my lived experience. And I'm like, okay, well, can he see this? Can he see this and feel this while we're there? And I'm staring at him just like this and blinking and eating my mashed potatoes and my mixed vegetables and my sandwich. And he is like, no change. And I'm like, this is who you gonna be around 24/7 if you want a piece of me. Yeah. And it was a lovely experience. And even though I knew it wouldn't go further, because I just knew, I was like, oh, he's trying to catch up on certain things that he done when he was younger, that I can't be the experiment for you. I can't be that person to try those things out or being vulnerable because a lot of cishet men don't have space to be vulnerable. And then get that, not even per se a reward, but just the acknowledgement of like, okay, I can say those things. I can, express this thing to this woman and she not bash me.
Can I ask you a question? Because from the gay perspective, there are times where a lot of us, like, we'll meet a guy and he may be like just coming out or, on the down low, has never messed with men but wants to try it. A lot of us at our younger ages would be like, yeah. I think at the beautiful age of 36, it's like, I don't want to be your experiment. Yeah. But a part of my mind is like, okay, maybe. Depends on how you come at me.
Yeah.
Why is it for you that if you meet a guy, you don't want to be his first?
Because I think it's nuanced. Because if the situation is good for me to be his first, then I don't mind doing that. But I also tell them, you have to go on your own learning experience. Yes. Because if I want to manipulate you because I know you fresh,
you can. It'll be easy for you to do it.
So I know I don't want to per se handicap you in knowing. That's what I tell them all the time. I said, when I know that I'm assured, nobody and their mama could tell me anything about me, my womanhood, my identity, how I show up. Nothing. I don't care if you're the president, vice president, pope, Jesus come down himself. I mean, like, well, you created me. So you know I'm going to give you this because this is what it is. If you don't have that for yourself or not going on that path for yourself, we're not compatible like that.
How about you, Shar?
Repeat the question.
What has been your dating experience? And then also, where are you meeting potential partners?
Oh, I kind of answered the first one, didn't I? About my experience.
Yeah, so just like
where I'm meeting partners, I've been on dating apps before. As I mentioned, I deleted them. I think that I have maybe fallen trapped to a lot of like the meet cutes that we see online. Like I hope, like I miss, like I'm freelancing right now. I miss having coworkers because coworkers were not, I don't believe in messing with coworkers.
Yeah.
This is my personal philosophy. Shout out to TJ Holmes.
Okay.
I don't believe
Don't bring him and Amy in this.
and Amy Robot. I don't believe in that personally because things can get messy. I've seen it happen. But you don't know, like, you know, you go to people's birthday parties or the holiday party. So I miss things like that with being a freelancer, but also like I said, the meet cutes, I've fallen prey to those, like hoping in the name of like Jasmine Sullivan mascara, hoping that I'm at the Ralph's or the Costco.
Come up to you.
Yeah. And it doesn't happen frequently, but it has happened.
What's your thoughts behind though being somebody's like first?
When I was younger, I used to like that. So
Tell your truth. Tell your truth.
So here's the thing, because when men would come to me and I would not be their first, you know, trans woman that they would date, I used to really interrogate my mind. I think because of the fetishism and porn brain, I'm like, what is this? Like, are you telling me the truth? Because I'm only hearing your version of the story. So even today, I kind of go, like, if a guy is known, I can think of at least two off the top of my head, is known for dating trans women, I stay away from it. Yeah, you're not adding me. I'm not about to be the fourth in line. It just doesn't.
But what if that is his preference in terms
Why?
That's a good question. But how does it always have to be something in regards to fetishization?
Yes, because if dating trans women in particular is your preference, why? Why? What is an answer that you can give me that doesn't lead back to fetishism?
That's fair.
You don't know what people have in their pants. You don't know people's situations. You don't know people's preference as far like. Why?
Yeah.
So this actually is a good question because it segues to what we wanted to the question that I wanted to ask. But before I say this, I'm happy that you guys have said that you guys have had great dating experiences.
Yeah. No, they've been bad.
They've been bad, but you know,
we're just on a high note.
They have not been awful.
They haven't been terrible.
And I'm happy to hear that. Too. And my question that I wanted to ask is,
but let me just really quickly. I like men that like women.
Yes, of course.
And so that's been, you know, there's just been a debate. There seems to be a never-ending debate, whether it's Tumblr, TikTok. There's a debate around certain politics with that. But
in terms of their identity.
And even between conversations between trans women and queer men, conversations around, you know, all problems lead back to men. So
I want to touch on that really, really quick before Nathan asks this question. So I had to be educated that I had a trans woman client, and I set her up on a date. I had a bisexual friend, but I think he leaned more towards the queer side. But he found interest in her, and so I set them up on a date. She called me after a date, like I do with all my clients, and we talked about it. And she was like, "I have to tell you something because I'm not sure." And this was back in 2000. Maybe like 18.
Okay.
And she was like, I have to tell you something because I'm not sure that you know this. But as a trans woman, I want to date a cisgender man.
Heterosexual man.
I'm sorry, heterosexual man.
Yeah.
That dates women. Like I don't want to date a gay man. And I was like,
but he's not gay.
But he was bisexual, but he leaned more towards leaned more toward the queer side.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, that's something I did not know.
Right.
Well, we're not a monolith.
No.
You know, the girls got different flavors, different. You know, there are, you know, T is the only letter in that acronym that's not a sexuality. You can be trans and straight, trans and lesbian, trans and gay.
Yes.
And so Yeah, trans and bi, trans and pan, et cetera, et cetera. So we're not all monolithic, but it would, I guess for me, in recent years opened myself up to queer identified men.
Okay.
Because I had a very limited politic.
At the party, yeah.
Yeah, I had a very limited politic around certain things. It's also very challenging. I'm not going to even front because like I mentioned earlier, like if you know me, then you know my friends. I hang around a group of like 5, 6, attractive gay men. Mm-hmm. And so like, let's say I do meet a queer identified man that I'm like, oh, I'm not sure if he was flirting, but I'd be, he's cute. Because just because you're queer don't mean you're ugly. Just because you're gay don't mean you're, like, I'm like, okay, so he's cute. And then I have to run down to my friends to be like, I see you all are following each other. What is this? And then there's typically
that journalism just don't leave her.
I do, because I do my research.
That's right. Okay.
Not my research. I do my research. Okay. There's a difference. And so, but the roadblock is always like my friends, they'll be like, oh yeah, we're in each other's close friends, or we went on a date. And then I'm like, I'm not, for me, that does not work for me.
Yeah.
And like I said, I know that sometimes I have a rigid politic, but I could, if a man exclusively dates men and then finds his way over here, we gonna have a serious conversation. I can't, there's certain things I can't get past as someone who's really fought for her womanhood. There's certain things I cannot get past, and it has nothing to do with society. It's informed by society, but it's not rooted in society. It's for my own, I think, gender issues, my own, much to Nina's credit, what she was stating earlier, like I emphatically know who I am. It ain't changing over here, as Nina said. Okay? I know who I am, and ain't no wizard that ever was, in Oz is ever going to break me down. Alphabetese. So it's one of those things where, like I said, I've had to interrogate in recent years. That's why I feel like it's going to be a unicorn. And to your point about dating apps, you all's pointed about dating apps, that makes it even broader. Because then, I could go out of town to Miami and meet a guy. We exchange Instagrams and you following my best friend who's in LA because everybody is sisters.
They were sisters.
So it's interesting. And like I said, I like men who like women.
Yeah.
But they could be every instance is so nuanced. I don't know if I could just put a cap on this because everything is so different. You got to catch me at the right day, is under the right circumstance.
Is there a particular city that y'all feel like has the best dating experiences for y'all?
I mean, so to piggyback off what Shar said, it's also about where you learned yourself. Thankfully so, I'm a Southern Belle. And so like being in the city of New Orleans, Louisiana, before we had definition or what was really popping, I always saw T for T relationships. I saw lipstick lesbians with studs. I saw studs with trans women. I saw trans men with T-girl, BQ, femme queen relationship. We saw it all. And so that's why, for me, I always say, well, if you can respect me and know that my identity is my identity and you like me, then you let me know that, okay, I might have had past dealings with or whatever that is, and that respectfully sits well with me, I don't have an issue with exploring who you are to me and liking me.
What if it's someone in close proximity? It's one thing to have dealings, but what if it's someone in close proximity to you?
Once again, that because of that background and having that experience, I always chop it up to, well, you're going to show me who you are if you really want to have or be around me. And if you saying like if they mess with my best friend or something like that.
Yeah, I'm talking about like if they like, I have past dealings and it's, with one
it depends on it's nuance because it's like, okay, well, how long is it fresh? All that kind of stuff. Then
y'all have a lot in common and then me and you are here. But I know exactly what you're thinking. I don't care
if it's because of where we from. You from New Orleans, I'm from New York. It's just those are Banshee cities. So
I'm not
Chicago's Banshee too, but there are laws to the
Cleveland is Banshee too. But if y'all, I don't care if you messed with my friend 10 years ago.
So the question I wanted to ask you ladies was, what does disclosure look like to y'all? Like if it's something Like, what are your thoughts on it?
Disclosure is your own preference. Disclosure is on your own time. We wouldn't have to disclose anything if society would make it a safe space for us to navigate how we choose to navigate. If there's no shame around it, I don't need to disclose nothing except where I need to be at and what time I'm getting there.
Get there on time.
And I know for me, disclosure is, it can be complicated. It's not always complicated. I'm laughing because I'm thinking about when I was younger, when I first moved to LA, since we're talking about dating, I had this rule where I would not disclose unless we went on a second date. On the first date, on the initial date, I would not tell my tea.
Oh, so you one of them.
Yeah, I was one of them. And then it was like, okay, if he wants to go out on a second date, before I go on this second date, I'm gonna tell, him. Yeah. Today, disclosure is so tricky because each time feels like the first time.
Every time.
Each time feels like the first time. It's not one of those things that gets easier with time. Because there is rejection sometimes, or there are people that will play with you, make it seem like things are
They're
sweet.
And
it just never gets easy, but it's something that we were just talking to one of our girlfriends, Nina and I were just talking to one of our girlfriends outside before this show started. And I was joking with her how she's a rip the Band-Aid off type girl. Like she just goes in for the kill in a way to preserve her feelings and keep herself safe. Look, this is what it is.
What about safety? How are y'all navigating
so
that?
That's why. That's why.
Even though disclosing does not guarantee safety.
No, it doesn't. But thankfully so, in the world and the realm of social media now, social media to me is a liaison to possibly going on a date, because I have a barrier of truth. I can express my truth. They don't need to know where I stay. They don't need to know. All they know is my internet reality, whatever that is, and what I present. And so I can give them that information, and then we could also have a conversation to where you still in your safe space, I'm still in my safe space. Then you can ask all those questions that might deem uncomfortable to you. These are the first questions that you might have. And then it might register in your spirit to be like, okay, let's go get a coffee.
Because I look at Instagram. We were talking about dating apps. Instagram is a dating app.
Yes, it is.
And I think about like in the pandemic during lockdown, the FaceTime dates I had, the Zoom dates I had, to the point where when lockdown was lifted, I was still going about doing that. I would meet a guy on Hinge and set up here's the link for Zoom.
No!
Oh, yes.
I love it.
Yes. Because I also need to see that you are who you say you are.
Yes.
Because I've also had a mixed bag.
100%.
Mixed bag of meeting men where it's like, oh, this is you 20 years ago, type thing. So it's like, I need to see, okay, all the teeth are there as shown in the picture.
That's right.
The hair, like you are, because who I am on the socials, you gonna see. Like this is what Megan say, ain't no edit on the Getty. Right? This is what it is.
I did want to ask you a question, though.
Yeah.
You said back in your earlier years, like, you would wait to that second date to disclose.
Yes.
When you did that, were there any negative experiences behind that? And like, how did you handle that?
So luckily, no.
Okay.
Luckily, I was rejected, but no one was ever like mean or threatened physical violence. It was nothing like that. I remember one guy who I had such a great date with. I remember he wanted to take me out on a second date. This was same week. Like he was like locked in. He had just moved here. And the thing is, I should mention, I was never concealing who I was. The issue is that men don't read. It's on the dating app.
Yeah.
Like I have it listed.
That is, trust me.
But if we're in conversation and I can tell that you didn't read that, I'm not.
Men don't read.
They don't read. You know what I had to tell these men I'm a verse. It said it on my dating profile. Verse.
So I want to emphasize that to the viewers. It wasn't that I was concealing who I was.
We're not gonna keep doing this every episode.
I let it pass. And I was like, okay, well,
we're not gonna keep doing it. We're not. Go ahead, Shar.
You gagging too much.
Oh, that's one thing she will do. That's one thing she will do.
We're not gonna keep doing it. Go ahead, Shar. I interrupted you. I just had to check her real quick.
I just wanted to emphasize. She not gonna stop.
Okay, I gotta stop.
Nina gonna laugh for 10 minutes.
Okay,
Y'all done got her activated.
I'm out.
I just wanted to emphasize that I was not concealing who I was. Now, there was at one point where I would, like when I was baby Shar, early mid-20s, I would only tell once the conversation got going.
Yeah.
Then mid-20s, late 20s, it was there on the profile. And that's when a lot of this was happening. But I do remember there was this one guy who was so excited about me. And I remember I disclosed with him on the phone. At the time I was working on unscripted TV. I stepped outside the building on my lunch break. I was like, he wants to take me out tonight. I remember talking to friends. I talked to Jace, who is my former co-host on Kiss and Tell. And I told the guy, I disclosed him on the phone, and he burst out laughing. He burst out laughing, and it caught me off guard, but he thought I was joking. He thought I was BSing.
Wow.
And I was like, I didn't know how to respond to that. Right. And I was like, no, this is, and I remember he did tell me he would call me later, and he never called. He was like, wow, okay, I'm going to have to think about this. I'm going to call you later. And he never called. And so luckily, to answer your question, I've never been met with anything violent, physical, or any threats. There was one guy who was waiting on my steps one day. Oh, yes. Brief story. There was a guy that I had.
I was like, wait a minute.
This was someone that I was. This was someone that I was kind of sort of seeing. Kind of sort of. We were not officially seeing one another. And I had disclosed, and he said everything was fine. And at the time, I did not have a car. So I would Uber or Lyft. And I went to my neighborhood Sprouts to get some grocery. And when I came back, he was sitting on the steps of my apartment. And I had my bags in my hand. Huh?
How did he get there? Oh, he knew where you live already.
Yes,
oh, okay.
Because remember I told you, come pick me up. Come fill it. Yeah. That's what I end to that. And it was scary. It was on some like, you gonna talk to me type stuff. Oh yes, it was scary. And I had bags in my hand, and the driver had pulled off.
Did you talk to him on the steps or did he come in?
No, on the steps. And luckily, being a woman about her words, I was able to, I didn't feel like, I don't want to say diffuse a situation, but
de-escalate.
I did not know why he was there. And he was looking a little crazy. Yeah. So I've had some experiences. And to this day, he's never come back. This was almost a decade ago. And so it's like you learn lessons like that, but fortunately, they weren't too hard lessons to learn.
But it's also the flip side of that when you do disclose, and then I make our statements. If I have disclosed to individuals who have been attracted to me, and then they think by me disclosing that I'm trans, that's full access for them.
Oh my God, yes. Can we talk about that?
Expound on that.
So her story triggered me because I'm like, when you disclose and once they are okay, quote unquote okay with it, they think they have full access to who I am because I am a trans woman.
Yes.
And so then if I tell them, oh no, we cool, baby, I just wanted to let you know. I just want to let you know, they'll get mad and say, yes, who are you to turn me down?
Ooh. Yep.
As though you don't have options.
As though I don't have options. But then if they find out somebody that they know that like me too, and I didn't give them access,
it's beef.
For me,
it's up.
That's been to give you all a very truncated version. It's been that binary for me when I was on dating apps. It's either, no thanks, beautiful. That's you're not my thing. You're still beautiful, but that's not my thing. Like, it's been that.
Why you sound like
no, because they'll reiterate that.
That's what they do.
They'll reiterate that. Like, damn, that's too bad. You still beautiful, but I'm not. Or it's been, I want to wine and dine you and da-da-da-da-da, and then it's disclosed and it turns into, can you do a split on the dick? So whining and dining is totally off the table. Totally off the table. But it can be pretty crazy. It's a mixed bag. It can be pretty wild. And it used to be, I'd venture to say, a little bit easier. The less visibility that the trans community had, it was easier for me to date. The more visibility that the trans community had, it became a bit more complicated. And I only think that's because men went from, and Nina, you might be able to speak to this. I went from witnessing men decide on their own terms if they want to engage me or not, versus today, it feels like they already have it rehearsed. If they ever come across a trans woman, this what they gonna say, this what they gonna do. Yeah.
This is not the first time I've actually heard that, actually.
And this boogeyman that has been manufactured, because we are less than 1% of the population here in the U.S., but they have been so masterful at manufacturing this, making us a culture issue or this political wedge issue in this boogeyman, that now that the way in which, like, I could think about, like, talking to guys in 2016 is not applicable to 2025. No.
So, I mean, we talk about, I feel like our generation, we've talked about, we've been through like ghosting.
Yeah.
We've been through rejection. And being fetishized. Like, how do y'all handle like the rejection and being fetishized?
Well, for me, I know it's not literally.
I need a drink.
Okay.
These are big boy questions, okay?
Y'all get
These are big boy questions.
It's this one dude, when I tell you we hit it off, everything intellectually present, savvy, assured, all these different things that gave me a green flag. And then soon as they thought that they were getting closer to the prize, they showed me who they really were.
What does fetishization look like for you?
So it's more so you're centered. For me, if your first thing is something about my body, I already know what you want. If you telling me, oh my God, Miss Mama's your yams, or your body, you bodied. Oh, I know you look good in lingerie. Oh my God, can I meet you at the? No, sir, ask me my fucking name. And that to me lets me know that nothing I'm gonna say intellectually is gonna deter you from that razor sharp focus of you trying to attain me.
Yeah, because now you're on a hit list.
So that's the fetish for me.
And it would be different. Like, I'm someone who does not subscribe to hookup culture. So it'd be different if I was like knee deep in hookup culture. I wouldn't mind probably something like that. But I'm not interested in that. And it is, I think that it's a very particular line of questioning that determines, you know, where someone's coming from. And like I said earlier, unfortunately, there's so much, brain rot and porn brain that informs the way in which not only men interact with Black women as a whole, you know, but Black trans women, you know, more specifically in context of this conversation. And so it gets annoying. Rejection for me doesn't really bother me. It doesn't really bother me. It doesn't send me into a tailspin like it used to. And that was in my early 20s. Rejection would sometimes, but I've never been that invested. So that's been like the safety for me.
For you,
There have been times where rejection has really, really stung, but that's typically because it's been rejection with the side of games. Like in my experience, if you have the esteemed honor and privilege to know me in person, to meet me in person, they always come back.
Right.
Versus if it's just Instagram. If you've met me, that has been, I hate to, like, I'm sipping from my own Kool-Aid, but it's like, okay. And I look up 6 months later, it's 2 a.m. and you're in my messages after you've rejected me.
What are some like common misconceptions that people have about dating a Black trans woman?
I think that some of the common misconceptions lean into a lot of the stereotypes. There are some very harmful stereotypes.
Can you break those down?
That trans women, particularly Black trans women, are scammers, robbers, thieves, sex workers, which, again, there's nothing wrong with being with sex work. I want to reiterate that, but that is not everyone's story. And I find that to be so... It's dismissive, really. If you can't hold space for individual stories, it's kind of like when we think about our Blackness. Like, every Black woman is not a welfare queen, a neck-rolling welfare queen, and every Black man is not a gun-toting thug. And so it's like people have different walks of life. People have different upbringings, backgrounds, different stories. But I find it that people struggle to make that conceivable for Black trans women because this has to be your story. I've sat on panels before where people have told me things about myself that are not true. Like, they have literally turned to me and been like, now, when you were in survival sex work, and that is not, I'm like, this is for Shar Jossell. Like, you know, and so it's been, people have had to catch themselves. And again, there's no harm in that, especially with with the landscape and the set of circumstances that Black trans women we have to deal with. But I think that every stereotype that comes up on that box gets assigned to us. And then when people look at you as some sort of unicorn or exception, that comes with its a whole other set of shit.
Has social media
a whole other
helped
set of shit.
or hindered the Black trans experience?
It depends on who's on your algorithm.
Okay. It depends.
It depends on who's on your algorithm.
I think more so it's giving more opportunities of representation.
Okay, good.
Opportunities for your own revenue.
It's giving visibility.
Voice.
It's
giving safety. If you know, not to say if it's a right or wrong way, but I just know that the girls have always had to get it on their own.
Yeah.
They've always had to be in the streets, and as far as the streets, just, navigating their own experience. And so if this machine and this thing can enhance that, we've seen it enhance it in a great way.
Yeah.
And so I just think that it's a nuance view
But
of it for each one.
To answer the question, I think it's helped because I think in each Black trans woman who has a platform or a following of some sort, whether that's 9,000 or 1 million, people are able to see their cousins, their sisters. There's some degree of relatability there, and I think that's what's always been missing from mass media. Is that I still firmly stand on the conversation about trans people would be totally different in this country if there was a trans person on TV, if there was a trans person on CNN or MSNBC or ABC, The View. If you could have a trans person positioned in this culture to be, this is my grandmother's chocolate chip cookie recipe. It normalizes, because the truth is a lot of people do not believe that they've ever met or interacted with a trans person. And in a lot of cases, that's for safety reasons. I don't always let my transness be known. I always say my transness is pertinent to the job. I'm not stepping into certain spaces wearing my transness on a t-shirt. That's how I navigate myself. It is pertinent to the job. Now, if I'm doing something LGBTQ related, then I'm doing something LGBTQ related.
Okay.
But if BET call and ask me to talk about 227 and the legacy of Jack A. Harry and Marla Gibbs, I'm not stepping in there. Bringing that let me be clear. I bring all aspects of myself.
I see a little red coming through.
No, because I bring all aspects of myself. But what I'm saying is, it shows up in varying levels. It shows up if it is pertinent to the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I mean, as somebody that hosts a lot as well, it's like I'm not in every conversation. I don't need to state that I'm a Black gay man.
No, because it can be because it can also be reductive.
Yeah,
because that's how you get pigeonholed. That's how you only end up working during the month of June. There's more to me. I always say that my transness is a piece of my pie. It is not my whole pie.
Yeah, exactly.
And people wrestle with
really quick, Nathan.
Wait,
and then we're going
before we do that, we still have to ask this one last question.
No, I'm gonna say them for the end. We're not gonna do dating tips.
Well, I just wanted to ask them, what advice would y'all give to somebody who wants to date a trans person? That's really important. I feel like
we can keep it brief, because I know you all are moving.
I know we
this is a 3-hour episode. The advice that I would give would be just to remain open and be patient with yourself and with them.
Okay.
But remain open, because you don't know. Like I said, we're not a monolith.
Yeah.
Each person, I'm sure, just like within the gay community, just like within any community, there are cis women who love pegging and others who are disgusted by it. Like, people have, and I don't want to make this a sexual conversation, but there are different wants, needs, and expectations in relationships. And so you have to give that trans person a fair shot as you would anyone else. Don't come in with preconceived notions, and don't generalize us. That's
I would say know your biases.
Hate that.
Oh, yeah.
So sit with it and make sure that you can assess that, and then intentionally do the educational part component of coming to that person with some sort of knowledge and knowing about that community that you're attracted to.
I love
that. Or that you like.
I love that. So we're gonna pivot to the game really quick.
Come on, game.
So grab y'all flags. Grab y'all flags.
Lord have mercy.
That was amazing, y'all, by the way.
That was good.
Fantastic.
Thank you for the vulnerability.
Of course. That was so fun.
So, green flag, yeah, you with it. Red flag, you ain't with it. Okay. So you ready?
Yes.
First question. Pillow talking with your friends about issues that you and your partner are having.
Can I do this?
Right, I'm about to say.
But overwhelmingly this.
Okay. And when you say it for audio too.
Okay.
Why is it a red
so
flag?
I got the red flag because typically, and I've even been guilty of this. Once you open that door up to talking to your friends about relationship problems, you might recover and be okay, but your friends will never.
Yeah.
Right.
I've been on the receiving end of that where I'll be like, ugh, you bringing that knuckle dragging ass up in here.
Okay.
So yeah, that's why it's a red flag.
For me, it's the kind of sort of the red flag because I'm like, I've always more than for the most part, I've been the friend. And so I've had to witness, and although I keep it, close, because it's, of course, my friend relied on me to be a jump off point to get their things off their chest. But it's also me now knowing that person that my friend is liking or loving has not been safe to them in certain capacity. And I'm such a staunch, don't play with my friend. I'll bop you over your head. Like, why did he hit me? Because you just did that dirty to my friend. Yeah. So that's where I'm at with it.
Dating one of your friend's exes from 10 years ago.
No, indeed, no.
I can't. I'm not secure enough for that. For one, I believe too much in karma. And for two, I'm just not secure. Like, if I gotta if I'm dating my friend's ex, I'll keep this brief. If I'm dating my friend's ex, even if it's just 10 years ago, I'm not someone that I'm not secure enough to be like, I'm about to run to the stove and leave you.
I'm
not secure. We are going to, so it's like,
I always say no, but you can date mine. I don't care.
Yeah.
You could date your exes?
After 10 years?
You can't date. If you dated my ex in 10 years, we have an issue.
It's not that big of a deal to me. Once I move on from these men, they gone out my mind. I had to do a lot of emotional work to
because we don't own people.
We don't own people, but
we don't own people, but also stay away from my friend group.
Yeah.
Because they got so many more people. Oh, yeah.
That's the other thing. There's too many.
And I would think you would been eyeing my man, so that's
boom.
Yeah.
See, I'm not secure enough for it. I'm not secure enough.
At least you were honest. This one is not.
Yeah.
Hosting your partner on social media.
Hosting
Hosting your partner on social media.
I want to say yes, but I've realized you can't. These girls are grimy.
It's gonna take a marriage for me. Yeah.
Even that.
I say red flag because at one point I used to do things like post a hand on my thigh. I've never been the girl to put the emoji over the face. Because if you're going to put the emoji over the face, you might as well.
And they still going to find it.
Why are you reading him?
I didn't know that Jay Lamar did that. But I feel also because of the very particular situation that I'm in, just existing as a Black trans person, that my relationships are sacred.
That's right.
I keep them real. I'm not letting nobody in.
No.
I'm not letting. Don't nobody know what Shar do, who Shar be with, and where she be there.
Right.
Okay.
And I love that, except for my friends, because my location be on.
They still use their ex's Netflix account.
No. Child, Netflix is $20. It's okay. Go ahead. I'll use it too. What's the password?
Wait, does Netflix have messaging now?
No. Okay. I don't have no messages.
Stand on your own. Like, I don't want you to let it know.
Yeah.
They want to go 50-50 on all dates.
No, absolutely.
No, and I say that because I'm not opposed to treating him.
Okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it should go, if we're going to do that, we might as well do, what is it, like Pity Pat. You pay for Saturday, I'll pay for the next Saturday. Or you pay for the movie tickets, I pay for the snacks.
Exactly.
That type thing. But I'm not going 50, like 50-50 don't feel like a date, and I'm a lady.
Ooh.
Okay, raised by a Southern belle.
All right, last two.
Like no real date.
They ghosted you once, then came back a couple months later, like nothing ever happened.
Like nothing ever happened?
It's a red flag, but I've let it happen a few times. It's a red flag, but I've let it happen a few times.
Like nothing ever happened is crazy, because you're not going to get away with that with me.
No.
We're going to talk about
intellectual property. You're not going to play with me on my mind.
You're not going to play with me.
They've never been in a long-term relationship before.
That's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay. So many of us haven't.
Yeah, I was about to say, millennials have not, a lot of millennials have not.
Between. I feel like at least one or maybe a long-term situationship. But I feel like
as a gay man, I don't feel like that's a fair requirement, because so many queer people have not been in relationships before. I just don't feel like it's a fair
and a lot of queer and trans people have been repressed.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I started off pretty young sexually.
Yes.
I thought I was getting my 10s sexually.
Yes.
But I wasn't going on dates. I wasn't developing emotional maturity.
Yes.
I wasn't learning that consideration.
Yes.
I thought I was.
Right. I thought I was getting my 10s.
Sexually.
Yes.
Well, now I was getting that.
Yes,
I just identify with that.
10 grand ride.
Sex on the first date.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes, indeed.
We're not children.
What?
We are not children.
You gotta catch me at the right day, at the right time.
We are not children.
If the chemistry is electric,
You better wait behind me now.
but I want to be clear. I'm not from the school of Steve Harvey, act like a woman, think like a man.
Yeah.
I'm not, because 90 days you could get gagged. After them 90
Yes.
days, he could up and leave you.
Yes.
So it's
Hit it
like,
one time and be gone.
That's it.
Woo. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank y'all so much.
Yes.
Like, thank you so much for being here, being authentic. We love y'all. I do want to say that we want to promote anything that y'all have going on.
Yes, promotions.
So if y'all got anything going on, please promote it. I know you got a lot going on.
Yeah, so March 7th, I will be dropping my new single called T for T with my bro 2 a.m. Ricky. And so
He's so hot.
yeah, all right.
No, Ricky is fine.
Shout out to
Hi,
Ricky.
Ricky.
Shout out to 2 a.m. Ricky. But
Ricky, where he at?
this was you're gonna see him. You're gonna see him. This was brought about because in community and conversation, some of my trans women were having conversations about trans men.
Mm-hmm.
And so thankfully so, being that when it drops to me, I'm able to like interpret the conversations into songs and stuff like that inspire. And I was like, it's befitting to have this new anthem because it talks about the friendship levels. It talks about the intimate possibilities of T for T, but also universally, it's time for truth. And so that means everybody can grab a piece of the pie. But when community sees that first and foremost, they're gonna be like, oh, that's something for us. But also when you get into the messaging of it, beautiful. It's time for truth for everything and for everybody. And so March 7th, it will be out to the masses. And I know that it's going to be an anthem that will once again show up for community and for what we need right now in this present time.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Well, for me, I'm all over the place. I'm freelancing. So I'm all over the place. I don't really have anything to promote. You can find me. I'm sure there'll be some sort of lower third with my handle.
Yeah,
but I do want to leave everyone with this quote that Mel Robbins, the let them theory. Mel Robbins said that has stuck with me. And because this is a dating podcast, I want to leave you all with this. There is nothing confusing about their behavior. The only confusion you have is your refusal to accept it for what it is. Get up out of there if you need to.
Come on, dating tip.
I mean, we was going to ask you for a dating tip, but you already did yours.
Well, Mel Robbins said it, and it stuck with me. You got to take that with you. There's nothing confusing about their behavior. The only thing that's confusing you is your refusal to accept it for what it is.
I love that.
Get up out of there if you need to.
I love that. Well, I guess I won't close with a dating tip. I will close with this. What was the worst zodiac sign you ever dated?
I think a male Virgo.
Male Virgo.
Mine was Leo.
It's always Leo.
There was a Leo that got married. I don't even want to talk about it, but yeah, it was a Leo.
It's always Leo.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter the month.
It's always
Mine
Leo.
was another Taurus. What was yours, Nathan?
Gemini.
Not you threw your flags, you man.
Geminis.
Well, dated.
What I will say is that I have beef with Leos, but every time I find a man attractive,
it's a Leo.
Damn, I
It's a
hate
Leo,
it.
yeah.
I'd be like, oh, when your birthday? He'd be like, July 28th. I'd be like, never mind, get out of here.
We definitely got to have y'all back.
Of course.
I had
Enjoyed
so
y'all
much
so
fun with
much.
y'all.
Yes,
So
thank y'all
fun.
for coming.
Thank you for
Daters,
having
until
us.
next time, be good to yourselves.